Now, what about the during the ACL and A-League, we've heard, and the club's been criticised, you've been criticised, too defensive, dull, colourless, boring. The game that's been played in ACL against superior opponents, where do you see that in terms of going forward for the A-League this year?
Look, I think you've got to...
I forgot to say one other thing, winning.
Well, if you look at the fact that the two other teams that were first and second in the Premiership, and one of them's champion as well in Brisbane Roar, didn't get through their minor rounds, and we're playing in the quarterfinals in 8 weeks' time. I guess you say there's winning... cover a myriad of illnesses if people want to describe them as that. But look, tactically, I think we've got a certain type of player in our squad, but there's certain types of athletes, and so there's certain types of things you can and you can't do. And I think we found a solution that best probably suited the players that we had against the opposition that we had to play against. Now, we can improve on that. We were a lot more attacking minded towards the end of our campaign than we were at the start. I'm an old striker, and I love the best method of defence being attack, but that's great if you're scoring goals and you put the pressure on the opponent, but when you're not and you're leaking them at the other end, you've got problems. So we went a little bit more, I guess, structured, a bit more disciplined, maybe a little bit more conservative, deny the opposition space, made it very difficult for them to break us down, and we started to get results. And then consequently, as I said, during the course of the campaign, we became a little bit more adventurous in terms of how we attacked and when we attacked them, and who did the attacking as well. Obviously our set pieces were a great strength for us during that whole campaign, and they will continue to be so, because set pieces are a very important part of the game. So tactically, I don't think too much will change. As I said, in the ACL, it's worked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Come the A-League, might be a different story.
Now, what about recruiting? Last year we had massive turnover. In fact, over 50% of the list. We've made it well known to all the fans that 22 of the players were contracted, now 21 with Daniel Mullen going. And you go into every year and fans want you to recruit instant success. We've got stability, we know who's here, all the players we've interviewed, they all want to be here. Very little room to move in terms of recruiting. Is that pose a problem for you, or is it, or are you still looking?
Look, it does and it doesn't. Your fans want, and I'm not being, I'm not being critical here, but you can't buy success. You can buy success short term. It's a quick fix. It's like, I'm hungry, so let's go and get a McDonald's or something. And then 2 hours later, you're still hungry. You want to start again. But for a longer term solution, you need to look at building success. You need to build a platform to get success from. And with 21 players contracted, there's not a lot of room to move. So if we're going to bring somebody in, it's got to be the right person and actually balances the players that we've got here. Players have to complement each other. For me, a team's like a jigsaw puzzle. A club is like a jigsaw puzzle. And every piece has got to fit in the right place. And if you've got a whole bunch of players that don't fit to make the picture that you want, then it's going to be difficult getting success. So I'd like to get somebody. It would be nice to have the flexibility to get somebody, but we can't. We'll work with it. But on the other side of that, the players that we have here are more than capable, and they've proved that so far.
Yep.
We're playing in the quarterfinals of this Asian Champions League with a team that nobody rated. And the players actually grew in stature during the course of the competition as well. And we've got a number of players that can fill or perform a variety of roles within our structure as well. Serge can substitute for Bruce. You've got Evan that can play on the left or the right wide. You've got T-Boy, young T-Boy that came off the bench a couple of times. We've got Ozzie Malik, we've got Ian Fife in midfield, you've got Fabian, you've got Zenon Caravelli, you've got Jacob Melling who'll be fit. You've got Fabian Barbiero that can do a job as well. You've got Pancho Usaka. So we've got a whole bunch of players that can perform a variety of roles. So that's what a squad is all about. It's about everybody contributing for the group success.
So if you had to, and we know there's a couple of spots there, I mean the fans I'm sure would be interested to know, if you could recruit a player and find the right player, and I guess the right player is more important than recruiting a player, what sort of position would you be looking to fill? Well, not so much a replacement for a player, but generally what type of position?
Oh, there's two ways of looking at this. I mean, Serge has made it public on record that he wants to, or possibly wants to leave.
Yep.
So we need to talk to Serge when he gets back in next week. If he wants to go, then we'll look at what we do there. So if Serge goes, do we look at replacing him with an overseas striker, for example?
Yep.
There's been a lot of talk about Marcus Flores. He signed for Melbourne. That's unfortunate, but it would have been nice to have Marcos here, but it didn't fit. It was a square peg in a round hole in terms of budget, salary cap, the whole box and dice. That didn't happen. So if I could recruit somebody, I'd probably look at some sort of creative midfielder. Now, where do you find one? We've got probably 500,000 DVDs.
Yeah.
And
It's a big lottery.
it's hard work going through them and getting the right people.
Especially those DVDs where they speed them up. They all look quick.
And some of them you don't know how old they are either. But it's about doing your homework and doing your research and just not diving in for the sake of getting somebody. You've got to get the right person. And even, look, somebody might come up on the radar that would be just too good an opportunity to knock back.
Yep.
So I'm not going to wait for that. But by the same token, I'm not going to dive in head first either.